Hello, everybody. If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and that must mean it's time for another episode of Warhammer Weekly. Joining me, he's back on the show. It's been too long. One of my best friends, one of the best people in the world, and one of the greatest event organizers and TOs around. Someone who has now fallen down the Magic the Gathering rabbit hole. So don't worry, we can still make Magic references in the show. Steve Herner, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing, brother?
Hi, Vince. It's great to be back. Hello, everybody.
Yes, Steve and I were. I was. He was. I was basically acting like a drug dealer before the show started, just trying to get him
Ah,
going on even more magic stuff. So
well, I think the audience deserves an explanation as to why. Because what did I say? I would never play this
mhm.
game, and here I am. And we were talking about magic, so there we go.
I keep trying to get out, but they keep pulling me back in.
Yeah,
Yeah, look,
yeah.
man,
There's a lot of
I'm
that.
excited. In a week and a half, we're gonna get together for Holy Havoc, Warhammer during the day, Magic at night. What more could you want, right? Plus, a
Doesn't
magic
get much
podcast is
better.
the only thing I don't have. So I don't get enough chance to just like ramble about magic every week. So there you go.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
Hmm.
So we're going to talk today about Steve's upcoming tournament happening in, I guess it's like technically 9, 10 days, whatever it boils down to from now,
Yeah,
basically.
something like that. Yeah, yeah. Not
Yeah,
this weekend, but the following. Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
That's right. I'm glad it's not this weekend because it always works out. Holy
Yeah, me
Havoc
too.
always falls right around where I have my annual conference for my work. There's been times
Hmm.
where like there was a time where I just had to like leave in the middle of game 5 and I was like, okay, Tom, just take my army home.
Yeah,
I'm done. And I like had to
yeah.
walk out to the airport. That was the time I got an
Right.
Uber and the guy was like, do you mind if we stop for gas? I'm like, homie, I'm gonna be late for
Yeah.
my flight. Yes, I mind. I don't care if you run out of gas at the airport. Like, you got to get me to this
Right.
flight. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think that was the ringer when you and I were ringing. Actually, I think maybe that year or something. I
It
don't
could have
know.
been, but
I
there's
can't
been a
remember.
couple of times.
There's been a couple times. Yeah, there has been a couple times. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
share a fun story with you, Steve, for this year's Holy Havoc. Just the chaos, right? So my conference this time is the week before, so I leave on this coming Sunday. Next week will be a hotel
Okay.
show. I'm gone all week. I fly back Thursday night. Friday, I get up. I drive to the greater Chicagoland area. Okay, to
Hmm.
then to play in the tournament all weekend. On Saturday, my wife is flying to Chicago. Like, she's flying into the airport, walking out of security, picking up our new dog because the person we're getting the dog from is in Chicago, and then walking back through security to get back on a flight and fly back with the new dog. And
Oh
because there's just
wow.
nowhere for me to keep a dog. Like, what am I going to do at the
Right.
tournament? I
Right.
can't get the dog, right?
Right. 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 Right.
So she's
Well, I
literally
don't
flying
know.
to the same city I'm in to pick up a dog.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well,
Hmm.
that's true love right there.
Absolutely. So,
Love. There you go.
but hey, I'm excited for we'll have a new dog. We'll don't worry, the new dog will make an appearance on the show the week after we get her. Anyways, tonight we're going to talk about Holy Havoc, and I want to take everybody through this event because this is truly a unique event. If you can't see just from the literal picture that's up on the screen right now, this is one of the tables, um, and Steve has an incredible uh, uh, imagination, eye capability to build these ridiculous tables. To build one of them would be most people's like lifetime goal and would become their like personal table they play on every week. Steve, you've now built 20, 22 over
22.
time.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that doesn't include the retired tables though. So I've retired three or
Okay.
four, three tables. So
So we're up
total
to
25.
25. All right. All right.
25 total, yeah. Hmm.
We're going to talk about this tournament. And like, I want to really talk about it because I'll be honest, like regular right now, fourth edition AOS, like it's fun, but it's kind of like little, let's face it, it's a little bit meh. Okay. A
Yeah.
little bit meh.
Yeah.
But, but, Steve's tournaments are the opposite of that because Steve is doing the right thing. He's making it a true, like, an event. And the way that the game is played at Steve's events are just like so much more compelling than playing, I guess, the standard game right now. That's always been true, but it's especially true now. Red Geist, hey, thank you for the super chat. Holy Wars 1 in 2016 made me 30-ish new lifelong friends and introduced me to the Midwest scene. There's nothing like Steve's amazing event. There you go. That is
Aw,
very true. That's very true.
that's
Like, I
awesome.
have many longtime friends from your event, Steve, not the least of which is you. So
Yeah, yeah, right. That's how we met. We didn't know
it
each
is.
other until you and Tom showed up. So,
No, Tom said,
yeah,
I
wow.
went to this tournament. You got to check it out. It's awesome. And then he brought me the next
Yeah,
time. And that was it.
right.
That was it.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And yeah, you and Tom are two of my closest friends. But I mean, let's be real, right? That's what makes this game. It's not. It's so much more than just a game. I mean, this is
Yes.
you wind up creating friendships that last a lifetime and are really that's really ultimately the true blessing is the relationships we forge together playing this silly game and
Yeah. I mean,
the
the classic joke
lifelong
is
friendship.
like the real reward was the friends we made along the way or whatever. But like,
Yeah,
that
it's
is like the
real.
classic meme, but it's very real with Warhammer. Like,
It
reality
really is. Yeah.
is I was never like, when the pandemic happened and all this stuff happened, I never felt
Hmm.
alone because we had this whole amazing community. I always felt like there was
Right.
other people there. So it is.
Yeah.
And the holy
And
events are a big part of that because they are such a like tight, friendly,
yeah, I
awesome
mean,
event.
prior to the holy events, I could count on two hands the number of friends the number of people in my life that I were in my inner circle as friends,
Right.
and that's just expanded exponentially each
Yep.
year.
Yep.
Amazing. It's an amazing. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing ride, and I give thanks to everybody who's come. It's been, and not just the event, but everything we do to help the community because we support and get people out of a local homeless shelter here, and it's pretty profound what this community has done, and that's all because of the people who attend. And your generosity of spirit has really helped a lot of people get out of a homeless shelter, and that's just an amazing thing. And it's really a testament to the character of the people that play this game and are part of this community. So I applaud you all and thank you all for the support.
Absolutely. A couple of just quick questions here that came in. Audio Anarchy says, "Oh dang, can you like target the bridges with people on them and stuff?" Oh, there's so much you can do, Audio. We'll talk about it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
And then let's see.
like
Krieg
nothing.
said, "Is there a website for the event?" Yeah, like just uh Holy Wars AOS. If you just search like Holy Wars Age of Sigmar, I'll put the link in the event in the show notes. I should have done that beforehand. I apologize. But if you just search Holy Wars Warhammer or Holy Wars Age of Sigmar, it'll pop up. It'll be the first result. And then Lodovica said, "Steve, how long does one of these tables typically take you to make from start to finish?"
It's a really good question. I've been asked that many, many times. Sometimes the tables can be done in a few weeks, others a few months. It really just depends on the level of complexity of the table. The table that Vince was showing earlier, and I don't know if it's still, yeah, it's still up there. That table was at least a 4 month process to craft because of how it was made. So really, it just varies based on time, inspiration,
Yeah,
materials, what it's made out of too. I mean, if some tables require more sculpting on my part, or more crafting on my part, like what you're seeing in that picture there, all the stonework and all that are black presentation boards that you'd get, and they're hand carved to look like marble. So, it takes a lot more time. Some of the others might go a little bit faster because they might have 3D prints on them, but there's always some level of customization in there to
absolutely.
some degree.
Yeah, not to mention your like largest resin pour in history here, as you were doing like a 6 foot by 4 foot resin pour on this
Yes,
table.
yes,
It's just
yes. There's
like
the
an
resin
industrial
stuff.
amount of resin.
Yes, the resin does the resin table. The tables that have resin on them. There's a few of them now. Those do wind up taking a little bit more time for sure.
Yeah. And become a lot heavier as someone who has frequently helped Steve get these out of the truck every
Yes,
year.
there have been complaints. There have been complaints, and the two new tables actually have resin on them. But this time, I was able to. successfully do the pour on a half-inch piece of MDF, so they are not as heavy as some of the others. So
Okay.
yeah, things are improving. Technology,
That's
or
right.
actually, it's not technology. It's just skill and want. The
All
want
right.
to.
Well, let's get into some news because we've got some,
Yeah.
not a huge amount, but a little bit. So first off, we have a rumor engine. It's a thing I don't care about again. It's some stupid mace that they made a joke about Battlefleet Gothic on, and I don't care about Battlefleet Gothic. What I care about is Battletoad Gothic. You still need like this. You've got the crash spaceship now, Steve, which I appreciate. Okay,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about. You have one of Steve's tables is a big crashed Seraphon spaceship in the middle of the jungle. But what I want is the actual space battle. We gotta take this to space, Steve. So the armies are just fighting in space. You got to be on
Okay.
little skiffs that you move around. Okay, little
Yeah.
space
Okay.
skiffs.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying.
I
And
like
then
it.
like
Yeah.
there's a silver tower and there's a Seraphon temple and like they're fighting each other on the thing and you like kind of take control of them to target the other enemy ship. Huh?
Please stop
Huh?
talking. Please.
Yeah, this is gonna happen. This is how you get Steve to make a new table. You just kind of implant these little. It's like Inception.
Uh,
Just going in there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Does the top fall or does it keep spinning?
I don't know. I could be open to either one as long as I can fly
Okay.
my little skiff units around the table and get in like little fights. That's okay. I'm all right with it. Maybe there's
Okay.
like some of the moving objectives are like little elements that are floating in between the spheres, right? So you've got
Okay.
like little broken off pieces of some of the spheres that are in there, the other planes of magic, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
All right.
Cygnus said
Well,
in the exciting new expansion for Battletoad Gothic, Teenage Mutant Naval Turtles. Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
All right. So, dumb rumor engine. Who cares? Next, we have a preview coming that may cause me to have to do a show from the Holy event next Friday, since this is at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Uh, okay. They that's cool. So it's the first night of Nova, basically, or not Nova, sorry, of Holy Havoc. Um, yeah. So okay,
Hmm.
we'll see what it is.
Yeah.
This is technically at like 6:30 since we'll be in Central Time. So
Yeah.
not too bad. But I mean, realistically, at 6:30, I'm probably getting food. That's probably what's happening. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Uh, there's like a same we have a very regular restaurant places we go to when we go to this tournament. So it's that's where I'm going to be at 6:30. We'll see afterward.
There's one. There's one. Let's be real
Yes.
here.
Well,
There's one.
yes, there's that, but then also I got to hit up that Jason's Deli for my lunch. Like that's the
Yeah, but
thing.
okay. Well, yeah. All right. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I'll give
There's
you the
nothing that
lunch meal.
special
Yeah,
about Jason's
that's true.
Deli except that I don't have one near me, so I don't get to get the big salad very
No.
often.
Hey, what do you think? That's what we do. That's what we do when we're Havoc. We get Jason's Deli. So, yep.
All right. So we'll see. What does the preview portend? Who knows? Hopefully, probably the rest of Warhammer Quest. Maybe we'll see all of the Nurgle stuff. If it's really good, we'll see the Ogre stuff. If we see all three of those things, I'll probably have to do a show. Because that'll be like an emergency show. Maybe I'll just like go jump on Haywo's stream or something and be like, all right, it's Ogre talk. Let's go. Here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Because if there's
Wouldn't be
ogres,
the
they'll be
first
talking
time.
about it.
I think the Daughters, right? Didn't this happen before, where the Daughters released came out? We were all talking about Daughters
Yeah,
the whole week, and that's all we were talking about
absolutely.
was the snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure. Yeah, yeah,
That was a great
good
time.
times.
All right. Then I want to talk a little bit about this past weekend, Steve. I'm sure you saw there was a golden demon. Did you see any of the pieces?
I did, and wow, just wow. I mean, I've been traveling on business all week. I flew out on Sunday, and so of course the feed. It was tough to kind of stay in touch and see what was going on. But today, this morning, I was at the airport at like 4 in the morning, so I was just trying to get caught up and just blown away by everything. I mean, just amazing group of artists, and I'm assuming you're going to show us some stuff, maybe.
I am indeed. Here
Yeah.
I have the actual Slayer Sword winner, which was Albert Moretto Font, who is like
Yeah, that was amazing.
this piece. He said he built
Now,
it out of 17 different kits.
yeah, did you see on Instagram, you can see there's a post where it's not painted, so you can see it under construction. It's
Hmm.
amazing.
I know.
And he does 360 on it, and like it's just mind blowing. And then even the photography, like that's the one thing I gotta give credit to GW when they take these pictures of these minis and then they post them out there on the site. They just look smooth as butter. And then like it just enhances what you get to see, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's just amazing, absolutely amazing. And did you see what he did with the beads?
I
He
didn't
on
get to
his
see that yet.
Instagram.
Somebody just mentioned in the comments that he like had to carve
Holy
around them or
cow!
something.
Yes, he used a jeweler's drill in order to get in there to give them depth because they're because yeah, unbelievable. Like the level of detail and consideration in the piece is just amazing.
It's
Absolutely amazing.
mind-blowingly incredible. Yes, like I saw
Yeah.
this and I was like, "Oh my god, this one." I love
Yeah.
that it feels just as old world as it does feel Age of Sigmar. It's like it somehow sits in both worlds equally well. It's just a great fantasy piece.
Yeah. I almost feel like it leans more old world and I love it for
Yeah.
that because it just does. It harkens back to that's what, it just has that feel. It's just amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
It's great.
stone cold stunner, absolutely worthy of the Slayer sword. But of course, there were many other pieces. I want to share a few others that caught my eye that I just thought were absolutely exceptional. I mean, all of the winners were exceptional work. I want to be clear. Like just amazing painters putting out amazing work. But there was a few that I like particularly connected with me. This one from Hendarian. I don't know who Hendarian is. I've never met them.
Yep. I
Um,
followed him.
okay, but like, God damn.
Yeah.
These like swooping hawks or whatever they are. I don't really know 40k Eldar units, but I think that's what they are.
Yeah,
Man,
they
this
are.
is like intensity in 10 cities.
Yeah.
This is the color on
Yeah.
this.
It's worth they're worth a follow and go deep into there's a lot of love there for the Eldar and you should check them out. I mean, I've been following them for a while. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing work.
this is absolutely stunning. These guys slap you in the face from across the room and say, "Look at me!" Like, holy crap.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. All the pieces that Hendren does are like that. It's just
Yeah,
you're like, wait, what? What am I looking at here? It's stellar. And then like even the vehicles, the way the patterning that is accomplished there on the vehicles, it's just amazing.
yeah. So
He's worth a follow. Worth follow it. I don't know if it's a
absolutely.
he or she. I don't know anything about it, but it's amazing.
Yeah, well,
Amazing work.
I absolutely went and followed him now. Yeah, 100%. As soon as I
Yeah,
saw this, I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm following this person. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then Urka, I don't, again, if I butcher your names, European people, I do apologize. Erica, Martio, which was the Age of Sigmar single miniature silver. This like I love the tree like sweeping up and over. I love the change to
Oh
combine
yeah.
like the Crow Knight or whatever it is that was the special edition mini with
Mm-hmm.
the Cities of Sigmar commander, like
Yep.
the little resin pour with the little fishy
Yeah.
fish, and just like
Yep.
that tree is so wonderful. The way it's like wrapping around the base,
But
just
yeah,
so good.
totally. The faces in the water. I mean, like
Yep.
it's unreal. And then what I love too is the way the moss is coming up on the tree,
Yes.
coming up on the left hand side. Beautiful. Just that level of attention to detail to it, and the way the tree's framing the whole piece is just stellar. It's
Yep.
amazing. Yeah.
Agreed. Little minor note that I truly do love how beautiful he rendered the cloak in that like with the
Yes.
texture, or he or
Yeah.
she. I'm sorry, how beautiful they, because I don't know how beautiful they
Right.
rendered the cloak. I
Right.
love how much light is captured there, and yet also how dark it is, but you know it's a white cloak, right? This
Yep.
is like the picture I'm going to reference whenever anyone asks me how to paint white, where I'm like, actually, most of white is a much darker color, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah.
like zoom down on that picture, a bunch of that is like if we just zoom into here, what looks white
Hmm.
about that? Absolutely
Right.
nothing. But like clearly when
Yeah.
in context, you're like, oh yeah, it's a white cloak. No problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The other attention to detail I love, and because it's the realism part of it, is the bubbles
Yeah.
along the
Yeah. Yeah.
shoreline.
It's along the shore
Just
here.
'Cause it could have easily just went in and just not even did that, but
Sure.
it's just awesome.
Could have had just still waters meeting the rocks, absolutely. But
Yep.
nope,
Yeah. Yeah.
little bit of life, right? Little bit of life. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then Simon Sakura, who better known as Zumakito. So hey, Zumakito got his golden demon. I'm very happy for him. He took it in the Age of Sigmar unit. Congratulations, Simon. That's awesome. I know this has been a journey that he's been on for a couple years now. And so I know this is a huge deal. You know, really great looking Nurgle unit.
Love
So
it.
yeah,
Love it.
really shows how beautiful you can make Nurgle, right? Like this is just a
Right.
great example of
The
that.
warm tones in there
Yep.
are just totally pop. And that's one of those things that I just love. I love when I see Nurgle like that, where
Yeah.
it just yeah, it's really good. It's great.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And just like such a wonderful just composition using like three of the best Nurgle figures. We got Lord
Yeah.
Drippy and the what is he, Lord of Plagues or Blights? I don't remember which one it is, but the guy with the gross tummy, and then you've got the sweet Harbinger on the horse. Like
Yeah.
what a powerful trio.
Yeah, the other thing I like about it is that it's not overtly over converted.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
No,
the
absolutely.
originals, they stand, you recognize them.
Yep.
And like when we do paint judging for Warlord or paint judging for best conversion at the Holy events, those are the things we look for. Like, how much does it retain? What does it fit in? And this is just beautiful, beautifully done, beautifully
Yep.
done. Love it.
Then this is from Florian Winand. I don't know. Again, sorry. This was like the Necromunda gold. I loved this so much. I just thought this piece was insane. This like does not feel like what I would expect Necromunda to be. Like
No, not at all.
this, it's crazy. But I
Yeah,
absolutely loved all the detail. Like this thing is just jam packed with like
yeah,
just every little thing you look at has little tiny things to discover and little details and stuff. I loved this one so much. Like the gi or whatever the robe, like just the all the detail on it, all the little flowers, all this reminds me like you watch those Instagram vids or whatever they come up as just people doing that, with that, like that super long brush where they're just doing the
yeah,
little crazy
yeah.
filigree.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's gorgeous,
Um,
amazing.
just what a unique setting for Necromunda. Like I love when people
Yeah,
take something and move the context.
right. And I didn't. Kudos too, because sometimes we've seen where if it doesn't fit in to what how GW defines things
Right.
within their what's the phrase I'm looking for? But you know what
Within
I'm
their
talking about.
milieu.
Yes, thank you. And this deserved to be awarded and not penalized for doing that. It just is. It's amazing. It's
Yep.
an amazing piece. I didn't even know it, to be honest with you. Like if just going by, I wouldn't know unless if it said Necromunda on there.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
have.
Exactly. When I saw it, I was like, "What? That's Necromunda?
I was
That's
like, is that
crazy!"
I like? Oh, is that an open category? What is that? That's
Right.
that's how I saw it. It didn't even dawn on me. So
Yeah. So
at first
amazing.
glance.
And then we got to shout out Andy Wardle, who is pushing the limits of like actually having emotion in his Age of Sigmar pieces. Like, so if you saw his piece from that he won from March from Adepticon from the Golden Demon at Adepticon, with the guy like holding his head to the horse, which was like my favorite piece of the entire show and probably my
Yeah,
favorite miniature of like the last, I don't know, 10 years at
yeah.
least. He's back and doing that same thing with like, turn this figure that's sad into like made her fallen. He did share a thing of like what
Mhm.
he resculpted for this, and there's like a decent amount of work he had to do. But I mean, Andy is just like, I,
Yeah,
what I love is that he's such an amazing technical painter. Like that is to say, his brush control, his work, his blends, everything like that is just absolutely insane and smooth, and everything's exactly where it should be. And yet at the same time, he's also doing things that are this creative and different and distinct and emotional.
right.
So
Well, you said it. That's the key word. I was going to say emotion.
yeah.
All of his work expresses emotion.
So absolutely, absolutely loved it. Super, super great. Oh, okay. So hold on. So that was what I had from Golden Demon. Okay, cool. Great. Uh, so really wonderful. really great. But of course, also we got our voting in for the miniature of the decade. Steve, did you vote? Did you make your voice
Uh,
heard on the miniature of the
I did
decade?
not. I
Okay.
did not.
Well, wanted to
Did you?
shout
Did
out.
you?
Nah,
Did
I
you?
don't care. I don't
Okay.
care.
Well, all right.
But I'm interested in the results all the same.
Sure.
Uh, so Visick Scour took 5th place. Good for Visick. Good for the I thought you and I both being longtime old Skaven
Yeah.
fans. It's good to see a new
No.
rat still get some juice taking 5th place. That's great. But of course, I would be remiss if I didn't give it to the winner. That's right. The figure that I think is vastly overrated, but everybody else super loves. It is Big Oosh, Usharon, the Mortarch of Delusion, a figure that I think is at best okay in complete composition. And yeah, but everybody else loves. So here we are.
Yep.
The best
There we
golden
are.
angle of all time, and more or less that's it. So, but
Well, I am not upset about that. So,
sure. You a Big Oosh fan? You
although
you in the
it's
camp
not
of
that
Big
I,
Oosh?
I, I like my conversion. I like what I did with my conversion for Big Oosh, and so I do. He was a lot of fun to paint, but I miniature of the decade. I don't know about that. I think it's more like miniature of the moment. There were a lot of amazing miniatures over the last 10 years, and I don't think Oosh is. I'd be hard pressed to. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, Maybe
Our
they have a
Queen
lot in stock.
Marathi was robbed. I think she was like 9th or 8th or something. It's
Right, right. I mean,
ridiculous.
there's yeah, exactly. There you go. That's one I would put above Ushan for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I might even do my Ilario. So Sylvanas too. That's an amazing model too. So,
Yep.
but yeah. I don't know.
Manzak said is the delusion also that he got #1. No, it's not a delusion. It's real, much to my chagrin. But there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. I will. Yeah, I'll give that to you, Bruno. He does quite represent his faction well, as his
No, he
centerpiece
does.
is very
He
high.
does. It's a fun. I painted him, and it's fun. Yeah, I mean, I did a minimal conversion on him, and it was more of a base and terrain effect. I enjoyed painting him. He was a delight to paint. So, but not miniature of the decade. So,
Sure.
no way, no
What's
way.
up, Austin? How you doing, Fletch? In the chat saying he can't wait. I hope you don't mean actually this weekend, Fletch, because you're going to be all alone if you go up there this weekend. But I
Yeah,
know what you mean. You mean
go
next
there
weekend.
this weekend. Yeah, don't go there this weekend, Fletch.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a problem.
But I got your meaning there, brother. Oh, well, looking forward to seeing you too. All right. So that's all our news for tonight. Let's meander on over to our next section. Steve and I can spend a lot of time talking about more or less anything. Let's meander over to some pick of the week. Steve, I know you already sent me yours in advance. What would you like to share with everybody
Yeah,
today?
it's one of the Holy Hammers. He has a channel, Nick Curtin's channel, CC Minis. It's a really different. It's entertaining. There is a spearhead. Nick had a contest with another content creator, and there's a spearhead video where I was selected to be one of the judges. It was a blind judging, and I'm not going to no spoilers there. But I was on it, and Miniac, and then another individual was also on there. Check it out. Nick's a great guy. He's a Holy Hammer. He'll be at Holy Havoc next week with playing with Ross, the regular attendees. And Nick is the guy who built the fully converted steam tank army.
Oh, nice. Yeah, sure. Sure, sure.
You remember
Absolutely.
our game? We were
Yeah,
playing on
yeah.
that table there, Vince, when I sent my Megabus in and your pig didn't kill him like you were supposed to. You remember?
Well, pigs will famously let you down. That's like what it comes down to.
And I mean,
Uh,
what a great game that was when you knew I was going to be coming through those sewers for you, and you tried to corner up, and I get there, and all you got to do is just roll that dice, and you couldn't do it. You just couldn't bring them down. All
no.
right.
Look, if
Anyway,
there's one truism in the history of playing Magic the Gathering, it's that pigs will let, or Magic the Gathering, sorry, in the history of playing Warhammer, it's that pigs will let you down. I don't know. I suppose they let you down
yes.
in Magic too. Pigs always let you down. It's a shame.
They taste good, but yeah, they do let you down.
It's true. It's true. All right. My pick of the week. Actually, I really, really, really loved um Andy's piece, and he put up a video on it on Golden Demon at
Mm.
Spiel 2025 with through Cult of Paint. It's a great video. It's just kind of him sharing his thoughts on his diorama, on the contest, and so on and so forth. I would highly recommend it. I'll link it down in the description. It's great. I really do like. I think Andy's just an amazing artist, and he's also just a super nice, kind person. So yeah, I mean, I think it's great. Go check it out. I can't wait to see what he's going to do with like other projects in the future. And I love this vein he's exploring. And frankly, I hope he brings more people along with him to exploring like actual deep emotion within their pieces. So there you go. Okay, cool. Let's do some hobby time. Steve, I mean, here leading up to the tournament,
Yeah.
uh, I imagine it's all of that, and you've been traveling a lot. Have you had any
Mhm.
time for your actual personal hobby?
Um, y- that's a good question. I'm thinking, does a commission project count? Probably
Of
not,
course it
right?
does. That counts. That's
It
painting. That's
does.
hobby.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, right here off camera, I am currently working on a massive, uh, old world project,
Oh my god,
Bretonia.
that is massive.
This is just one tray,
Sure.
of
Who's bringing all these
Bretonia.
peasants?
So,
That's not. Put these peasants away. Get the knights.
who do you, you know this individual? Oh, there's knights. They're right down here. Um, they're let's see if I can pull them out without losing the whole tray. So I've got everything built, converted. I still have one more. Here we go.
Good God.
So that's what I've been consumed with. Uh and having a lot of fun with it. Actually, I've been using on this particular project. I was planning on chronicling the entire project on the social media's streams, social media channels. I'm doing everything in Army Painter. So
Sure.
it's going to be all done using war paints, and been really enjoying them. So it's been a good project, and it's for Marv Sims. So there you go, Vince, as to
There you
why we
go.
have so many peasants. That's Marv. That's Marv style, right? Flood the board,
Absolutely.
and yeah, that's how he rolls. So that's been most of my life. The last few months though has been all. It's been mostly centric on tables, painting the table, and getting the new tables ready to go. So, and the new tables have uh, probably a little. I probably spent way too much time on the crack, and we'll get into that later. But the Kraken and the Idnet Deepkin models that are on that table, spent a little bit too much time on that. I probably could have powered through that faster. So that's where I'm at.
Hey, it's all good. For me, so I had Vincy Con this last weekend. So I had the boys up here. We were painting all weekend. It was great. I knew this picture was going to load wrong. I apologize, everyone. Hold please while I fix this because it's all screwed up. There we go. This was my project over the weekend. So I worked on Red Moon, which is the name of the sculpt from Mindworks, and is very happy to work on this. It's kind of been sitting there for a little while, been something I wanted to work on. I wanted to really focus on like a strong spotlight effect and fuzz out the rest outside of that. Use some very different colors for her, make her very sort of alien and stand out. So it was a very fun project overall. I probably still got some more work to do here. I do a little more with the trees, that kind of stuff. But overall, it was great fun. There's just like basically 3 solid days of painting, and yeah, she's like an incredibly great miniature. So um, yeah, trying to make some fun color choices, things like that. Um, so that was the weekend, and then as we got into this week, I also got to play Trench Crusade this last weekend for the first time. Had a lot of fun. So now I'm painting up my Trench Crusade minis. They were printed out for me by the incredible Anthony. Crazy Horse, who's here in the chat. Thank you, Anthony. Again, I've put them to good use. They got their first game in, and now they're getting their paint on them. So they're all primed up, and this is the first guy. He's ready to go. This is my Yoke Fiend or something like that, I think is their name. Sure, why not? For my Core to the Seven Sires Death Magic Purple something. I don't know. I don't remember names. I remember names in AOS, and I've been playing that game for, 10 years now. So yeah, pretty cool. There'll be a video for that guy in the future. And another fun thing that I've been playing around with as part of working on this guy and a few other things is I've been playing around with these new Vallejo. Oh God. These new Vallejo true metallic metal paints. Like the little four paint system.
What's your first impression?
They're
thumbs
pretty
up,
good.
thumbs down. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I've been jonesing to get my hands on those.
They're very interesting. There's a lot of different colors. So they're like there's the whole rainbow with them. And they each one is basically like 4 paints. So you've got a base and an airbrush that are effectively the same tone, just like slightly thinned. One is slightly thinned for the airbrush. Then you have a shade and a highlight for them. That's basically the system. Now, of course, there's no reason if you know colors, you can't just mix and match. It's not like they explode if you put different ones together, but they do have that kind of like, this is an easy highlight for this tone. And I will say the thing I like about them is I generally tell people not to do colored metallics because they always look like a child's toy because they don't shade and highlight them properly. Right? They'll have like a whole bunch of shade and highlight on their miniature, and then they'll do the colored metallics, and you'll just be like flat, shiny purple. I'm a kid's toy, right? This is like actually encouraging you to still create contrast, even on the metal and some like variants of value, which is really the big problem with most colored metallics. So that's good. I haven't got to use many of them yet. Still early on. I've only used 2 of the different ranges, and they're both like I use the copper and I use the aged silver.
Yeah.
A lot more colors to test. I'll eventually do a video, of course. But I, we got to put them through their paces first. So.
Yep. Yeah. I'm anxious to see what you think. So.
Yeah.
So for colors, I've been using the Scale Color Alchemy lines for most of my colored metallics, and I like those. But Scale Color has its own challenges.
Sure. Absolutely. So, I mean, absolutely. Across the Pond said my Alpha Legion are so ready for the Vallejo colored metals. Yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
That's just like such an easy win right there. What about the gold? I don't know about the gold. I haven't used the gold yet, so I can't speak to the gold. Like I said, I tried the copper and the silver. I'll get to the gold eventually. There's two different actual golds, and then there's also a yellow metallic. Okay.
Yeah, I saw the yellow. Angle, right? He's been posting on his Instagram what he's been doing. I think he did like an Imperial Fist with the yellow recently.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting because yellow shiny metallic usually just looks like gold unless you make it like real sort of like moon yellows, kind of feeling, right? Yeah. And that's sort of the color, but we'll see. I need to I'll go through all of them when I eventually do them. So they're interesting. All right. So it's been a very busy hobby week for me, and it's not done yet. I got a lot of stuff to do before I go on my trip this weekend. So for work. Okay. Let's talk about some holy events, shall we? And for that, I want to go to this picture right here. So I want to actually start this, Steve, with the pictures you sent me in the file, because this is a great way to like look over a lot of the tables, as well as many of the fun games that have been played over the years here. Inquisitors, hi Vince, thoughts on today's FAQ, which clarifies that Hellsmith DPP are lost each turn. Page 39 of the rules update PDF. Well, first of all, Inquisitors, I didn't even see it, but so I missed that. But I never thought they were anything than otherwise they were lost each turn. But that aligns with my expectations and fully how I had been playing it. So that's my answer. But I'll go through the FAQ and look about it. Might make some mentions of it next week once I have a chance to actually take it in. But yeah, I would say that's just kind of what I expect. It was in line. It's how I talked about it on the show because I assume that's what it was. And then Warlords of Arceus. There we go. Got it. A lot of those letters run together. With the super chat saying, "Big love, Vince. Thanks for all the tutorials." Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you very much. So hey, yeah, keep those as we transition in here. Hit like, hit subscribe. Throw them super chats in. Helps keep the channel going. All right. So we start here. I mean, as everybody look at this table. Steve, I don't know if you can see this on your screen as well, but like I've got up your first picture here, which is the Seraphon table with the incredible floating waterfalls and the big snake temple and all of that, right? Folks, this is what we're talking about. This is like a baseline Steve table. Okay. This is like your cost of entry. Like this isn't even close to the most impressive table. This is just like a table. All right.
One of the early ones, actually.
Yeah.
I think the floating island was year 2.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, in the center there, the waterfall, the wellspring of eternity, to be exact.
There you go. Now, Steve, here's what I would say about your tables. You tell me if you think this is right. I want you to kind of talk about the holy event and how you see it, the holy events writ large,
Okay.
how you see them. But here's my read. Okay. My read is you wanted to play a game that you wanted to play a game and you wanted to create an event where people are playing in a game that one has more narrative to it, like an ongoing and evolving story, a little bit more of a campaign type of feel almost slightly throughout the thing, as we'll talk about with the Warlord eventually and what that means. But also that was actually taking place like in a world where the tables and everything the tables were doing were part of your game, right? Like you had to interact with them. They are deadly. They are dangerous. They can be bonusing or interactive. But the point is, the world that the figures occupy was meant to feel real, not just like arbitrary hills and walls that people stand behind in the middle of a fight. How have I done as far as summary?
Pretty accurate.
Okay.
Pretty damn close. Yes. What we wanted to do was to bring how we played the game, how Reed, Quinn, and Ethan and I played the game in our basement. And that's the way we played in our basement. We before the Holy Hammers ever existed, we created special rules around the table. We created all those things you just described, and then when I decided to launch the event, I wanted to bring that to the public.
Yep. And like it is, I cannot state it enough. We'll look at some table rules as well, just so you can get an idea of how this plays later on. But at Steve's events, your models will die. That is reality.
Yeah. The tables play. You're not only are you playing against your opponents, but you're also playing against the table. Each table has its own unique set of rules too, so that everybody has their own unique experience, and no two tables are the same at all.
Yep.
There's no duplicate terrain. It's all special rules, all customized. Everything that you see in this picture, every little element that's in there has a special rule. And those rules are provided. There's a map that's provided for every table so that everybody understands what the rules are, and each team will get a map to give them the opportunity to see, excuse me, what those rules are and how to best use those rules to their advantage, because there is a distinct advantage too. And whenever players come to the event, we encourage them, especially when it's their first time, and every time, because we constantly update the rules. It would be beneficial for you to read them over every time, because we make changes and we modify. We're constantly in a state of development with the holy events.
Absolutely. Some years the tables real deadly. Then sometimes Steve will be like, let's bring them back a little bit. They get a little softer. And then I go to Steve and I'm like, we got to turn these tables up, homie. I am not feeling threatened enough at all. We got to get that deadliness cranked up. Okay.
Yes. So we did lose ourselves for a little bit there. Let's be real. We did let some of our attendees influence some of our decision making, and we got it back. So that was good.
Cygnus said, "Are players allowed faction terrain? If so, how?"
Yes, you are. We are. We do allow faction terrain. We do allow players to shimmy and adjust as necessary. Yeah, yeah,
Another
for
thing that's
sure.
important to understand about Steve's tables is Steve's tables are 6x4. Okay.
Yes,
Not the
yes,
like shrinky dink size of current AOS. Like Steve had all
yeah,
these beautiful custom tables. They switched the map size, and Steve was like, "Yeah, I don't care. We're playing on 6x4
yeah.
tables." And
No,
everybody was like, "Yeah, great, okay,
yeah,
fine with us."
yeah. Well, the other thing is that we don't use table mats, right? So
Right.
all of our tables are MDF boards, and brought in, and so yeah, there was no way I was cutting down those boards.
No, absolutely not. Here, I actually have the board we just looked at up on the screen. So this is the actual like in the player
Oh,
pack.
yeah, I see somebody saying poor Sylvaneth players. Yeah, I'm a Sylvaneth player. I don't
Sure.
have any problems playing my games on these tables. In fact, I would say the Sylvaneth player actually, it's actually somewhat beneficial from time to time. Vince and Vince has played as a ringer partner with me, playing my Sylvaneth on these tables. So look at what Anthony just said in the chat.
Steve cheats
Yeah,
and zones the entire board out with his tree forest from Sylvaneth. Yes. Yeah.
Anthony may or may not have. Anthony, yes, Anthony played against Vince and I.
Yeah. Wasn't that the game, Anthony, where you had like you were playing Suns, which is just like not a
Yes.
great thing to play on Steve's
Yeah.
tables. Let me tell you what. An
Yeah.
important thing to understand about these games is that it used to be for a long time. So you're in your 11th year, I think, of this, right? This is the
Well, COVID kind of messed everything up, right?
right.
So we've done, yes. So technically, by calendar date, it actually, yes. Let's just go with that. Yes,
That's
for
fine.
now. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
COVID messed everything up. It's all good. Um, and so like an important thing to understand is for a while, so there's two events per year, Holy Wars and Holy Havoc. For a long time,
Mhm.
Holy Wars was single, like one-on-one,
Yes.
traditional sort of, and
Yeah.
then Holy
And
Havoc was doubles, right? So
correct.
effectively
Yes.
two
Correct.
on two, right? Partners.
Yes. Partners.
And but
It was after
some
COVID. It was after
yes,
COVID when I made the decision. We
right,
had come back from COVID and we were a singles event still for Holy Wars.
right.
And we came out of that. We all had our masks on, and I made the announcement there that moving forward, Holy Wars would be a doubles because it
Right.
was, and then that's when it changed.
Right. So now both events are doubles events, which is actually excellent. I love a doubles event. It's so much more fun. Basically, each player has 1,000 points. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. And in the Holy Havoc event, you have a warlord. We'll talk about the warlord in a little while. It's an extra figure you get that like actually has a sort of RPG like experience and levels up over the course of the weekend. Um, but like poor Anthony had, you know, two giants. Wasn't a great time for him. He got kind of stuck up in some terrain. Yeah, it can happen. I don't know what to tell you. Believe me, I've been there. I've been there with my fighting Jake and Sean, the angriest I've ever been in a game. My mega boss on Maw Crusher stuck, unable to go anywhere because of just like his big dumb pie plate base and the board I happen to be on. But anyways, so you can see that like my point is in the pack we all get this has like you've got a map of all of the terrain. So like even if things get moved or whatever, you can see exactly where everything's supposed to go. Like it has the sort of grid laid over so you can actually like understand where pieces are supposed to be and what they're all named and stuff like that. And then over on the right side of every pack is your actual rules. So like the Shrine of Sotek, just to give this would just be a good example of how these tables work, so everybody can sort of get the feel for it. The Shrine of Sotek, at the start of your hero phase, a friendly unit that is within 6 inches of the Shrine of Sotek, which is this big snake thing over here, may suffer D3 holy wounds. So holy wounds are super mortal wounds, basically immortal damage. They cannot be resisted, right? So there's no save against them, with the exception of the warlord who can eventually get into it, but that's the only figure. Until the start of their next hero phase, when that unit rolls an unmodified wound roll of 6, the target unit suffers 1 holy wound in addition to normal damage. So basically, they can take some damage to get empowered and deal some holy wounds out to their enemy. Then you've got the Wellspring of Eternity. which is the big thing in the middle, the big thing with the standing up there in our picture. At the start of each movement phase, any units on the top of the Wellspring Eternity suffer a number of holy wounds based on the chart below. So it's down here. At the end of your movement phase, a unit within 3 inches of the bottom of the Wellspring of Eternity must teleport to a pool of azure, which is the little things on the side. So these little guys out here, the 4 of them. Remove the chosen unit from the battlefield and set that unit wholly inside a pool of azure. Units can be placed into combat. This does not count as a charge. Any models that cannot fit wholly within this terrain feature are slain because they, fall off the side and die. Units and manifestations cannot fly to the top of the Wellspring of Eternity. Units cannot leave the top of the Wellspring of Eternity by any means. Units cannot be set up onto the top of this terrain feature by any means other than the Pools of Azure ability. And so you'll see here how it says terrain objective, the top of the Wellspring of Eternity. So part of what you're doing in every game is trying to hold a terrain objective. So there's generally 4 different things you have to do for victory points in every table you play on. One of them, there's a sort of main objective, there's a terrain objective, there's like a warpstone shard objective, and then there's your warlord objective. Okay. So you got 4 different things going on. And the terrain objective is just a simple control thing. The problem is, on many tables, this being a good example, as you can see from the chart, taking all this damage, is that to hold the thing, you have to put units on top of it. But when you put units on top of it, they will suffer a bunch of damage. This is not uncommon. Oftentimes, the units that have to hold the terrain objective are getting slowly diminished and decreased. So exactly when you take it and how long you hold it and like getting the victory points for it is a bit tricky, you might say. Okay, Pools of Azure. At the start of each movement phase, any units on a Pool of Azure suffer D3 holy wounds. So again, more getting beat up. At the end of your movement phase, a unit wholly inside of a Pool of Azure may choose to teleport to the top or wholly within the bottom of the Wellspring of Eternity, or to another Pool of Azure. Units can be placed into combat. This does not count as a charge. Any models that cannot fit wholly within these terrain features are slain. Units and manifestations cannot fly to the top, and so on and so forth. So that's how you got to go to the bottom of the well, then you teleport up to the pool, then it teleports you over to the top thing. So that's your journey you're going on this table, right? And then there's other things here that like have just other sort of simple rules. Kind of Steve still has a version of a lot of what we would think of as the older fun terrain rules, like mystical and arcane and entangling and stuff like that. So some of these other things will do that stuff.
Yeah, we had a big debate about that, by the way.
Oh, yeah, getting rid of those? Sure.
Yeah, no, whether or not we should go with what GW has done, and we said no. So we're sticking with what we like on the generic terrain rules that are listed on the back.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's a good example of the tables. Let's go back to some photos here because we can look at some other tables. We've got here the Sylvaneth table with the big tree, the very, very, very big tree that gets its own separate transport because it can't fit in anything. The tree is always like in the truck all by itself.
It is. It doesn't fit in anything at all. Yeah.
Nope. That tree is like really massive in case you can't tell from the person in the background, right? It's like the size of your torso.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
This has traditionally the Sylvaneth board. As you can see here, look at that. See, somebody on this picture, Steve, has set up some Sylvaneth woods. There you go.
Yes. There you go. Yep.
Woods in the woods.
It can be done.
This is kind of how that board looks from above. This has traditionally, you wouldn't think it, because it's Sylvaneth, right? You're like, oh, they must be nice, happy tree. Must be a nice, happy tree board. You would be wrong. The tree board has traditionally been one of the most destructive, deadly boards to play on. It will absolutely slaughter your army in most of the incarnations of this board. There was like 1 year where you weakened it, and I came to you and I was like, we got to make this tough for Steve. The Sylvaneth board lost its teeth. Can't do that. Alariel's realms are well defended.
Yes.
So like the Oak of the Ages, this giant tree in the middle. Again, These are 6 by 6 inch squares. So I just want you to really think about how big this tree is. Okay.
Yeah, 18 inches is 3 squares.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. You're talking about like almost 24, basically 24 inches across and about 30 inches wide. So, roughly.
There's not a lot of places to hide.
Correct. So at the end of each battle round, each team, starting with the team that had priority, rolls a d6. On a 3-up, all units within 18 inches suffer d3 plus 1 holy wounds. This is the terrain objective you have to stand near. Okay. What I
Yep.
love about this one is on this board, you will often, people will play in what I call the circle, right? Like
Yeah.
you'll walk over to this table and you can just see a bunch of units spread
Yeah.
basically
Spread
18 and
around.
a half inches away from the
Yeah.
Oak of Ages, right?
Waiting until the last possible minute to storm the center.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then over here we have the Spirit of Athelorian. That's this thing over here. At the end of each movement phase, the team whose turn it is must move the Spirit of Athelorian more than 10 inches anywhere within 18 inches of the Oak of Ages. So you got to move it at least 10 from where it started, but it has to end somewhere within 18 inches. So you can teleport it around the board. This is another feature of Steve's tables that I think is really important and something we never do in normal games. Steve's incredible terrain that he's made, a lot of those pieces, Steve is like, as part of the rules, you will pick this terrain up and move it around the board.
Yep.
Like the board will not remain stationary. Okay.
Nope.
And so that's like Oak of Ages. That's the Sequoia of Eternity. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So yes, you pick this thing up, and it's like a lady underneath it. Is what it looks like. I think it's like one of the 3D terrain print pieces.
Yeah, Anthony printed for me.
Yep, beautiful piece.
Yeah.
And so you teleport it over there, and then you can like put it wherever you want, and then all units within 12 inches of this terrain feature subtract 1 from all wound rolls. So 2 wound rolls. So it makes you weak. So you're usually trying to put it like behind some enemy unit or something like that, where you can charge in and not take the penalty, that kind of stuff.
Do you remember when she screamed, Vince? Do you remember the scream?
I liked when she screamed. Absolutely. She used to teleport around. The desert table still does that, I believe, where you can teleport the Nagash thing around and kill people, the Hand of Nagash or whatever. The Queen's Gate, you can walk the spirit paths and basically teleport. Another common feature of Steve's boards is that there will be lots of access to teleportation of some kind. And so like in this case, it's very much that. But if you do teleport, hey, potential for taking some holy wounds, not unusual. Then if you control the Tower of Orion, you can potentially run in charge. And so, yeah, there you go. This is a really fun board because it's just sitting there pulsing. You tend to play toward the outside. It's fun. And then all your other features have stuff like, mystical and place power and stuff.
Yeah, the thing with Havoc too, Vince, is that the Warpstone tokens will be placed within a danger zone. So it's not like you can just avoid the Oak of the Ages. There will be Warpstone crystal objectives placed by the TO on the table, and they might be in the danger or the impact zone somewhere. So you have to, you and your partner have to strategize as to who's going to take those hits and how you're going to deal with those multiple objectives that you're trying to
there's usually
accomplish.
at least 2 objectives, if not 3, pulling you into the you're going to get your face punched in areas of the table.
Right.
For sure. Okay. So then let's go back here. Really awesome looking armies here, by the way. Whoever these people are, I don't know who they are, but whoever you are, you have great looking forces. Speaking of the Nagash table and the desert sands, it's like one of your oldest tables by far, right?
Yeah, it was the first one. The first build. The Shifting Sands was the first build, and Kyle Frank, who was a original Holy Hammer back in the day, who's now in the Pacific Northwest. Kyle was he's the one who thought about the idea of hearing the call of Nagash, and he came up with the idea, and it was his inspiration and his vision really to say, hey, what if they went in there, kind of got, and then were called home by
Yep.
Nagash, and that's where then we further developed that into the whole teleporting mechanic.
Yes, very much. This is always classically, this is such an, I have had so many amazing games on this one. I mean, I've played this almost every year. I always try to play this one at least once in many years because
Yeah,
I really love this board. So what Steve is
it's a lot of
describing
fun.
is the shifting sands. When a unit finishes a move ability or is set up on or within 3 inches of the shifting sands. So this giant thing in the middle of the board, okay, this big thing with a skull in it. Roll a d6 for each model in the unit. That's very important. You're not rolling for the whole unit. It's for each model. So if like you charge it with 20 guys, you're rolling 20 dice. Okay. And on a 1, the model has heard the call of Nagash and is removed from play and cannot be returned to the battlefield by any means. Roll another d6. On a 6, the unit is teleported. Remove the remaining models from the battlefield and place them more than 16 inches from the shifting sands and more than 3 inches from enemy units. So you're basically like feeding people into this thing, trying to roll as many ones as possible because the train objective for this is usually to just like who got more models to hear the call of Nagash, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then you also get to move around the Skull of Regrets and do a bunch of holy damage and stuff like that. So it's fun. Do games on these tables typically take longer than normal games, similar, shorter due to the increased damage? It's usually honestly shorter, Lodovicus, honestly, for two
Yeah.
reasons. One, because you're dealing with 2 1,000 point armies, which just is materially different than a single 2,000
Yeah.
point army for like the toys and synergies you can create. Okay. And 2, because the tables are so deadly. Like things just die. Right.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
actually is like at worst similar, but most of the time faster. Again, depends on like the particular armies and what's going on. But like, again, certain tables are like way more deadly than others. There is a variance to the deadliness here, as is appropriate. So there you go. Okay. Here we have Vlad's Garden, right? I'm trying to I'm remembering all these just off the picture of your exact name, but like it's Vlad von Karstein's
Vlad's tomb.
tomb. There you go. Okay, yes. So we've got some.
Yeah.
This one's this is the board where my Maw Crusher got stuck and couldn't go anywhere because of the cemetery and the building and some woods that are right there. Basically, he got stuck right over here, just stuck right there for like the whole game. And eventually, in like round 4, he fought his way out. And I have never had more of a release of Wa energy in my entire life than when he finally broke free and was able to go fight something. This is just like another super classic board. Here we have the one. Oh, this board. Okay. So Steve, you want to talk about the floating islands here? The board where the weak fear to tread. With
Yes.
this one.
The floating islands you're playing, it's basically 3-dimensional chess. You're going to be playing on the tabletop and above the tabletop. And I would say it's probably it's intimidating to look at, but it's actually quite a fun experience. I've always enjoyed playing on it. The funny thing is, Vince Reed has never played on this board.
That's
This
insane.
board was, this board was developed while he was in college, and he's still yet to play on it. So it's one of his things. It's one of his quests is to play on this table. The table. What's your feedback on it, Vince? I mean, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this table.
Yeah, I mean, I've played on this table several times. Had another great game against Jake and Sean, ironically, on this table. One of a game where Tom and I beat Jake and Sean by me rolling a 9. That was what that boiled down to. It was like, well, we got to roll this 9 or we lose the game. Well, we rolled the 9. Okay, we win the game. Yay. Which I'm sure they're both better players than certainly than me. By
Yeah.
I won't pull Tom. I won't throw Tom under the bus. But sometimes it's a dice game.
Yeah.
But I like this table. I've always had fun on it. Obviously, if you have like flying models or things that have a lot of high mobility, it's certainly generally more advantageous for you.
Sure. It can be.
But
The
it's a good
table,
table.
Yeah, and then the way the objectives are placed on this table, the secondary and tertiary objectives placed on the table, they're placed in areas where you're going to have to interact with. So you're going to play on both levels. You're going to
Right.
play above and you're going to play below. And there are easy ways to access and get there. So
Right.
we have special rules developed for like when you hit the stairs of eternity, you're going to be able to get up with, even if you don't necessarily have that movement, you're going to be able to get
Yeah, you
up
effectively
to the
just like
top.
teleport to the top of the stairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, exactly, exactly. So that it's still a very interactive experience and a fun experience. And the good news is for this event, this table and another complicated table, the Ruined Temple City of Sigmar, are going to be in the realm of heavens this year. They're being moved into another area so that those two tables, players will have plenty of room to spread out and be able to play the game more comfortably. Um,
Nice.
uh, so it'll be a really good experience, and I'm thinking the players are going to really enjoy that. The it's very a unique it's a very unique experience as well because you have to account for shooting in a different way,
Yep.
because line of sight now is vertical, not just straight, not just horizontally. It's much more vertical because you can get above. And there's also the way you can do the leap of faith. So you can actually suicide. You can jump off the top, and units can jump off the top and on the leap of faith, using the leap of faith rule, and cause damage below in a suicide drop. And that was a great little bit of feedback from Christian. I believe it was Christian Weir brought that up to us one year. He talked about that, and so we started to play test that and rules development. We really enjoyed it, and we brought it into the rules.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very fun table, though. Like, I spend a lot of my time usually in the chaos realm because all the chaos tables are like some of my favorite tables. So
Hmm.
that's, it just is what it is. I love the rules of the various chaos tables. Here we've got
Hmm.
Bugman's Brewery, one of the simpler tables, honestly, but also one of the most fun. If you're a fan of a scrum in the middle, Bugman's Brewery is for you. It's about having a good old fashioned punch up outside the brewery. And what's funny about the brewery is that it causes. I'll jump back to it here. I think it was. Did I go past it? Yeah, here it is.
It's up at the
Um,
beginning, yeah.
right. What's funny about Bugman's Brewery is so okay. All units, friend and foe, wholly within 9 inches of the building, gain Bugman's brew buffs. At the end of each hero phase, each team rolls a d6 to determine the buff received for their units. These buffs last until the next hero phase. And so, like, you're just rolling a d6 and hoping that, like, something really good happens. On a 1, you suffer some wounds. On a 2, you get +1 to attack with a single weapon. On a 3, you suddenly can't use command abilities. On a 4, your rend becomes nothing. On a 5, you get +5 control score. On a 6, you get +2 rend. Okay.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
quite a wide array of things. And it is very funny because, you'll be in the middle and these events will just keep pinging every turn. And like units will go from being amazing to crap, like just like in the blink of an eye. Right.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Um,
Do you remember how much you hated the Bugman's rubrics because it was 6 was a negative?
yes. Cause
Do you
yes.
recall?
My biggest problem was in one of Steve's early incarnations of this. When you rolled a 6, it was a negative. And I was like, and the
Right.
1 was good. And I was like, Steve, you got to stop. You got to
Yes.
reverse these. I got no problem with the penalties and
Uh,
the buffs. They're good. Right.
it was good. It was the idea because I was taking the narrative too far. The concept was you were drinking too much, and
Right.
so when you rolled the 6, you were completely inebriated. But Vince didn't go for that. He didn't like
No.
that.
It's like 6
The
is good
masses.
to roll.
Yeah,
That's when I roll
yeah.
6, 6 is
No,
good.
it's like the old days when the what was it when the GW used to put the symbol on the 1 and
Right.
everybody was all upset. And so it was
Exactly.
like that.
Symbols do
That's
not belong
exactly
on
what it's
1.
like. That's
That's right.
fair. It's all good. Anything to shut you up from complaining is a win in my book.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. Look, I'll take it. If I get the changes I want, I'm happy to be the change I want to see in the
Yeah,
world.
it's fine. It's fine. It was good. Yeah. No, this is actually it's kind of a surprise to be honest with you with this table. So the mountains are massive. So they're not. You can see it here in the footprint. like we said before, those squares are 6 inches each. So they basically go out 24 inches, right? They go out 24
Right.
inches and they go up vertically too, at least about, I'd say it's probably 18 to 19 inches tall. So they take up a lot of space. And you would think, so like at the singles event, it was never an issue. Like players, I thought when we went to doubles that this table would be that people wouldn't play on it, but that's not the case. People play on this table. They love this table, and
Consistently.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of love. Yeah, consistently, it's consistently chosen, and it was one of the tables that I had earmarked early on as possibly needing to retire or leave at home. And every time I talk about leaving it at home, it's always like, yeah, people. So we'll keep bringing it. And then when we added, I think what really changed, because in the early days of this table, we didn't have the spelunkers. And when we brought in the avalanche spelunkers, it brought a whole new dynamic to the mountains and the ability to traverse through the mountain to the other side. And
Yes.
it really changed the dynamic of the table and how you battle on that table.
There's a lot of ability on Steve's tables to like teleport pop into combat. Like that
Yeah.
is something you have to be wary of. Cygnus said, "Are the mountains expandable foam?" What did you make the mountains out of, Steve?
Oh, yeah, great question. It's yes and no. So actually, yes. It has the expandable foam that was used as a filler. So what's underneath there were some styrofoam from monitor, from an LED monitor, and that was used. That's the inner armature, and then I used the expandable foam to kind of fill in the gaps. I shaved it off with a hobby knife, and then I use pine bark nuggets to create the texture. So pine bark nuggets were then adhered over that all of that foam, and then spackled with lightweight drywall spackle, which is very lightweight, and then sanded down and sculpted and crafted to make it so it doesn't look like it's pine bark nuggets from your garden, to make it look like a rock face.
Yeah, Steve's tables. He shared some work in progress and stuff on his socials, and like anything that Steve builds always has like 5 more steps than you think it does because he goes the distance. Steve is not a man of half measures. That is for sure.
No, well, in the early days, Vince, it was half measures to get it done, and then it would break, and then we had to evolve. I had to make sure that it was durable for
Sure,
gameplay and,
sure.
and transport and stuff. Once we started to take the event more seriously.
Yep, yep. All right. Which, by the way, you mentioned something that maybe I wanted to key in on for everybody here. One of the other really fun things about this event is that you can challenge other teams in any round.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, like, if
Yeah.
it's round 3, it doesn't use like a Swiss pairing system. It uses
Nope.
just like it's random, the assignments, unless you challenge. Okay.
Yep. Yes.
And so, and you could challenge round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lots of teams who have like people they want to play. You know, you travel long distances. You know somebody else is coming. In a normal tournament, you're not sure you're going to be able to play them. Here, you can be like, "Do you have a challenge in round 3? No, okay, we're going to be your challenge in round 3." And you go up, you tell the TO, boom, boom, we're challenging each other round 3, so you know you're going to play each other, which is cool. And then what Steve and Reed and the other TOs, the other people do is you set basically everybody has a little poker chip sized thing with your name on it of the teams. Everything gets laid out on the table, and the grudges, the challenges get to go first, but you get to pick your table. So it's like he calls out their name, and it's like, well, what table do you want to play in? And they'll say, I want to go play on Bugman's. Okay, cool. And then they actually set Steve has like a little mini old what's that from? Mighty Empires or whatever?
Mighty Empire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mighty Empires.
With all the like all the little numbers that correspond, like this is some tape like Bugman's, as you can see here, is table 18 if you look in the top right. So then those 2 names get set on table 18, that table's taken. When you're down into single players where it's getting assigned randomly, what's neat is you can say, so like let's say you don't have a challenge and your number gets called, your team gets called, as it were, sorry. You can come up and you can either go stake out a claim on a new table that has no one on it yet. Okay, so like, all right, the shifting sands, no one's there. I'll go sit on that, and then you go wait to see who decided to come fight you, right? Because somebody's can then the next person who comes up can either again pick out a new table if there's still an open table, or they can just say, no, I'll go play. We'll go play these people. right? And so you can either pick your opponent or pick your table. So it's pretty
Right.
cool. It sounds like it would take a while, but it's become a very methodical process that moves pretty fast. So it doesn't actually take a lot of time at the beginning of each round.
It does. And the players gather. They understand it now. I mean,
Right.
probably in the early days it was a little bit of a challenge, but everybody who comes understands that. And there's a reason we did that, and that's because our event is not a competitive event. At its heart, it's a hobby event, and
Right.
it's a hangout, it's a party, it's a gathering of like-minded people who want to come together and have a really good time, see some amazing armies, get inspired, yeah, not only by the armies but by the tables, and play games. Sometimes we have people who travel from far off distances, like our sister club, Lords of War. They come to their lives are so busy in Minneapolis that they come to Holy Wars and they're able to play against each other when they can't even play against each other at their local store because they're just too busy. So when we started the grudging, that's where it came from. It was this desire to, when I go to an event, I get to play my friends. There's nothing better. There's
Right.
absolutely nothing better. And so since we weren't using the Swiss pairing system, we're not ITC, we don't do any of that stuff. We're like, well, why can't we do grudges every round? Let's
Right.
just do it. Let's have fun with it. And because it's that there is no best overall, right? It's just we have a best general for gameplay, but then everything else after that is all hobby related stuff,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So we separate those awards, and it's been wonderful. I think it really helps us to maintain who we are as an event.
Absolutely. All right. Next up here we have the a table that Tom and I hit so hard we done changed the rules.
Yes, you
Uh,
did.
this is the
Yes, you
Daughters of
did.
Cain table. It now has the Vince and Tom rules on it because so there was a year where both Tom and I brought Daughters of Cain. Okay.
You did. Yes, you
And
did.
we were like, all right, well, this is our table. So we just kept playing on this table every round. This was our table. If somebody else picked it, we've going to fight them. If we got first pick, we would too. Who will dare challenge us in our temple? And
Yes.
and we sat
What
there
happened at the end?
and just
What
rode this
happened there?
table. Well, what happened is you changed the rules on us after.
Well, yeah,
That was
yeah.
fun.
Well, we did, but it became this thing. So, like, after day three, on day two for games 4 and 5, people were like, "Oh no, I gotta go play Tom and Vincent double," because it was when daughters were at their height too.
Oh
So,
yeah,
like, I
we
mean,
were
it
we
was a
were like at the pinnacle of
slaughter
brokenness.
fest.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, it was a total slaughter fest, and nobody wanted to go there. They were just kind of like, "Oh damn, I gotta go
Yes.
play on this table. I gotta play against the double daughters."
The important thing to
Yeah,
understand is that daughters were already cracked, and that big
yeah, they
temple to
were.
Cain in the center,
Yes,
what it
yes,
did at that time, it's changed now, but what it did at that time
yeah,
was if your army made a blood offering, like suffered damage, in
yeah,
every phase, it would add +1 to it the attacks of all of the models within a certain range of that temple. Okay.
yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
we had figured out in our army ways to basically hurt ourselves in
You
every
did.
phase. Okay. So
Unbelievable.
by the time we got to
Yep.
combat, we would be on like our witches and our snake elves, like the snake ladies and everything, were on like
Yeah.
+3 or +4 attacks. So they were
Yeah, it was
just
gross.
lunatics running in,
Yeah.
just
Right. I think what was really crazy about it was that this harkens back to what we talked about earlier about everybody reading the rules,
yeah.
like taking the time to read through the rules, because like you would rock up or somebody would rock up against Vincent Tom without reading it and then being like, wait, what? What can you do?
Right.
And you're like, yeah, it's right here. Here it is.
There's
Read
the
it.
rules.
Did you
It
read
is.
it? Did you read it? And
Did
it's
you read
like,
the rules?
oh,
Reading the rules explains the rules. Yes.
yes, exactly right. Exactly right. So yeah, this
Uh,
was one of the earliest tables too. This was a year one table and one of my earliest builds. And it's been and this is actually a little spoiler here. There's some on the council who want to retire this table. So or maybe we'll do some terrain updates to it. It's one of my favorite tables because I just think that the tabletop surface, the frozen tundra thing, it really works really well. It's just beautiful, and it really works. So I'm more of the mindset of like, let's update what the Temple of Cain is. Maybe give us a true
Absolutely. I mean,
temple.
come on. Do you want to risk Marathi's wrath? I don't think so.
I don't. I play daughters, so I don't want any bad luck.
That's right. Then we have a famous slash infamous table. Oh boy. So this is Nurgle's table, like Nurgle's garden or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
in the world
Thorns
of
of
deadly
Ottar.
tables, boy, this is a preeminent table.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Many a
Uh,
giant have stubbed their toe while crossing a necrotic stream only to die.
yes, this still has like some old school death rules on it. It's a very dangerous table. The worms in the middle, as you might imagine, do a lot of damage. The pools do damage. Moving across the little rivers do damage. Basically,
Hmm.
everything does damage. Nurgle's table just kills you. That's what it comes
Yes,
down
it
to.
does. It does.
Yes.
It does. We had a good game against who were we playing? I think we were playing Zach and Chris, the double rats, in our ringer game. It was
Hmm.
the I was playing Sylvaneth. I think you were playing Daughters that year. Right? I think
I
you
think
were.
that could
And we
very
just
well be, yeah. It's hard to say.
yeah, yeah. We had a good game. We had a good game on that table. So it was
Uh,
good. Fun
So yeah,
time.
this is a very fun table to play on. It's very punishing, I will say. I love that the picture we
It
got
is.
of it has the like bright Nurgle people on the Nurgle table. By the way, they look great. Like it's
Yeah.
amazing when you
Yeah.
can match up armies like that. So I mean,
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
certainly an affinity when you bring an army to play on the table that is like representative of your
Totally.
army.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing that we did originally. So with Holy Wars, the Tom had attended, every table was themed to the old world, right? So everybody got an opportunity to play on a maybe had gotten an opportunity to play on their army's table, right? So and then we wanted to try to have everybody represented, and that's still a quest that we're trying to achieve as GW continues to ever expand the amount of armies we have. So we have the Ideneth and the Lumineth table that is going to be debuting at Havoc in 2 weeks,
I
and the
can't wait for the
Nighthawk.
Hellsmith
So,
table.
so yeah, it's that's an interesting. We'll talk more about that. Actually, there's a
Sure, sure.
where we have a table right now that's under development that could just kind of easily shift into a Hellsmith concept. Actually,
There you
might
go.
be a lot easier than trying to pull off Fire Slayers. So
Yeah, nobody plays Fire Slayers anyway, so there you go.
sure.
Uh oh, so this one. Okay. This is a table I've been very excited to talk about for a long time. So we need to explain this table. This is the monolith, Steve. So this is one of the chaos tables. And everybody probably notices this giant monolith in the middle. This thing is so tall. This is like, how tall is this thing? Like 3.5 feet tall?
Uh, yeah, maybe. Let's see.
It's
Each one of those
huge.
are 12 inches, 24. Yeah, probably. Maybe close to 30.
Okay.
Let's say 30.
It's really tall. And it sits on this
It is.
big, heavy, reinforced base down here. And you notice it starts here in the middle of the table. Why, what could go wrong? Okay. But what could happen with this? So I mentioned moving things around the table. Well, this thing moves and it moves randomly, like it's a chaos table. So you roll dice. You get to pick the direction if you're the controlling player of the thing. And the trick is if it hits a model, okay, then it keeps moving. So let's say I'm this player over here, the Idneth with my little boat, and I decide I have control of this monolith, and I'm playing these people over here. It looks like some ogres and something else. And I'm going to go ahead and move it like this way to go straight over top of their models, right? That's because, of course. So, first off, everything it moves across takes some damage. They also have an effect that they roll on. Now, it will keep moving, okay, until it can be safely set back down. Now, the fun part about it is if it can't be safely set back down and it reaches the edge of the table, it keeps going. Okay. So it will, let's say it comes this direction, there's no place to set it because of like models that are here. Okay. So it will come back and bounce off the edge of the table and then go back again and keep going in that direction. And it can come back on your army. And then if there's nowhere for it to land, boop, 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 and it'll keep doing that until it just slaughters enough models that there's a place to land.
Yep.
And so people have engaged in various shenanigans over the years to try to see
Mhm.
how high they could run the wound count on what they could get this thing to do in a single turn. And we've seen some, I dare say, Steve, we've seen some
Mhm.
cahoots, some
We have.
collaboration between
Yes, we
players
have. Yes.
where they've lined their entire armies up right along the lava and then
Yes, they
sent this
did.
thing akimbo and killed their entire armies in one turn.
Yes, they did. And it was the way it worked was at that time we were tallying is the damage, the amount of damage caused,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So basically, you're counting your overkill. And so, so I think the numbers just it's over 400.
It's pretty big.
Based on yeah, it's pretty big, and it was Domus, and I don't remember who Domus was playing with at the time. He convinced it might have been Larry Kenny. I think it was. It may have been Larry Kenny. I'm not sure. Actually, I take it back. Larry Kenny broke the record just last year. I'll have to go back in my archive and take a look at the notes. But yes, so what they did was both teams they just lined it up across the lava, basically, and the monolith just kept going back and forth and causing all this damage. And so now we have a tally that we put up next to the table so players can see if they want to try to um, break the record.
Yes.
So
But whether played for comedy like that or straight, this table is like an all-time killer. Because obviously,
yeah,
by the way, the lava also kills you, just in case that's not. Of course
yes,
it
it
does.
does. Of course it does. Yes, it does. The shifting monolith is a great table. It's a lot of fun. And this, for those of you who may not know, the shifting monolith was on the in the Slaves to Darkness book, back, or I'm sorry, Warriors of Chaos book back in the old world, on the map. And there was this thing called the shifting monolith, and that is how I got the inspiration to do to create the monolith and the concept of it moving. That was actually one of our earliest. It might have been. I think it was our first interactive terrain piece, Vince.
Right.
Was the
Yeah, yeah.
it was
Where you
it was the
moved it
shift.
around, yeah.
Yeah, and it became a fan favorite pretty immediately. And we just realized that this really made it even more a more interactive experience for the players, and so we brought that to other tables. So it's a great table. It's a lot of fun to play on.
Absolutely. Uh then we have again one near and dear to my heart, the Skaven table, the Skaven refinery.
Mm.
This being a particularly funny table because at the end of it, the whole thing goes kaboom. Like all of the
Yep.
Skaven machines,
Yeah.
all explode, and like out of a huge radius around every one of these rock formations, there's just a giant big boom. So like at the end of the game, your army just explodes.
Yeah,
So
it does, and lost many a game that way. Had the game
yes,
won and lost on that explosion. So yeah, it's a great fun. It's a good time. This table's a lot of fun too because it tactically you don't see it here on the map, and I don't know if you see it in the picture. Let me look at the picture. You
we
can
can flip
kind
over
of
it.
tell. Yeah, there's levels. Yeah, you can see the levels. So
Right.
you are playing a little bit above the table and below. So that which is nice because we don't get a lot of that in Age of Sigmar unless you're playing something like Warcry. But yeah, so but this table's a good time and it's a great blend of a 40K terrain blended into Skaven and it works really well. So
Yep. Absolutely.
a lot of yeah.
This one is very fun. Somebody asked, so photo. Nope, they're 6x4 tables, so it's absolutely huge. And then Cygnus said, the monolith pieces. How big is that? What you're asking? The monolith pieces. He said, I assume they're made from foam. Are they foam
Yes.
bricks? Yeah.
Yeah, they were foam bricks that had to be Mod Podged like crazy. Because
Sure, to get them smooth.
I wanted them to be perfect, as opposed to cutting it on my tables by foam cutter. Because like foam
Sure.
cutters are great, but there's room for human error and shaky hands, and it
Yep.
requires it can be a lot. You can have a lot of spoilage when you're trying to cut that precisely in that particular way. So those are um, they were foam, and then like I said, as I said, Mod Podge and sanded, Mod Podge and sanded. Uh, yeah.
Yep. There's another one of Vlad. Oh yeah, so this is the one from the beginning. Here's a much better shot of it, so you can all really see the insanity of this entire river table or Venice-like, Venetian-like table, where Sigmar's temple. This one's very fun again because nearly everything kills you. Things come up out of the water and kill you. There's big laser beams you can summon from Sigmar's eyes. That kills you. It's a very deadly table. In
Yep.
addition, you can teleport certain units through the little. If you see these little sewer pieces here, these little sewer entrances here and here and here, and they're kind of all over the place. If you look around, you'll see them everywhere. And you can teleport through the sewers, straight into combat. Which you gotta keep your head on a swivel for that one, because people
Yeah.
will come up through the sewers. Obviously, things like the big dragons can't go into the sewers, but like if you got infantry, you can. So
Well, the first year they did, remember?
yes.
Pat Pat Walters put a couple mall crushers through the sewer. They popped out on the other end, just like a Looney
Yes,
Tunes
that
cartoon.
was a quick rules change. This is the table, yes, where you and I played against the all steam tank army or whatever that year. Yeah,
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yep, we had a good time on that table.
and
It's
yes, as
good.
you can see, of course, you're going down the across the bridges, and like there's just a much different fighting area because so much of the board is just very, very, very deadly. So you're often playing in like
Yep.
very strict spaces, things like that. So it's a
Well,
really great table.
the other cool thing about this table that I like from a tactics standpoint is you realize that you're going to have to make sacrifices.
Right.
There's really you have to you have to do the fight, and like depending on where the warpstone crystal objectives are placed, or in the case of Holy Wars where a Grail token would be placed, you might you have to put things in harm's way. You're not just going to be able to rush to the middle and try to keep everybody out of the
Right.
canals of radiance and what lurks below. So, um, yeah, it's a great table to play on. There's a lot of there's also some good vantage points with those ruins. You can put some shooting units, range units up top. They can get good line of sight to help you out. And because of where they're placed, you have the opportunity with those ruins. I feel like sometimes players don't take enough. They don't use those to their advantage sometimes.
Yeah, I don't set up
They
on it to when
they
they
don't set
perfectly
up.
well
Yeah,
could.
yeah, like, they could, and then they can sit there and they can get a line of sight on things and really help them with covering fire, not covering fire, the rule, but just having that ability to shoot,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Long strikes, for example, up there would be very powerful,
Yep.
and really help in your game. So players need to really start using those more, I think.
Absolutely. I have put shooters up there for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh this is the just kind of like what's that? I don't even remember the name of it. It's just like the humble little happy cities of Sigmar town that's always getting invaded and blown up.
Sorcerer's Haven.
Yes. Uses a lot of like if you're a fan of the classic
Old
Warhammer
world.
Fantasy old
Yeah.
world buildings and stuff like that, Steve has this a very wonderful collection of all these pieces, the skull tower and all
Yep.
that stuff, all these different things. And so yeah, this is like you're in a
Yep.
city. It's just a little village,
Yep.
and it's got all the buildings have their own little fun rules. So like getting
Right.
near the different buildings.
Yeah.
Um
It's
uh
got the integration of the Dreadstone Blight with the Skullbane Mance turning piece.
yes, there you go.
And so the narrative behind it is that a sorcerer made a mistake while inside the Dreadstone Blight. There was some type of magical backlash, and eventually they built up the Skullbane Mance. And you get bonuses for being near the different pieces of terrain. So you'll get the Watchtower conveys uh, a bonus. So does the Sigmarite Chapel, and so on. So you'll get there are really cool little mechanics on there, and it's one of the more popular tables too. A lot of our former old world players love to play on that table.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's super classic.
Yeah.
Here we have another chaos table. This is Zinch's realm. So we've got the Zinch table, which again has things that move around and all sorts of different challenging stuff with these big like towers of floating rocks and the black pool or pit. I don't remember exactly the big the thing that's kind of
Black
out of
pit
frame here. Yeah, the black
floating.
pit.
Yeah, it's floating. Yep. Yeah,
This
where it
thing,
keeps pushing you away.
yes.
It keeps pushing you away from the objective.
In the
Yeah.
very first year when we were playing when we didn't have points yet,
Yeah.
right? So the
Hmm.
first Holy Havoc, we didn't have points, and Tom and I built the most insane, ridiculous force. Like, I mean, I had Archeon and like a lot of other stuff, to
Oh,
be clear. Okay.
yeah.
And there were multiple things on this table that when you went into them, if you rolled a one, you died. Just you're dead. You're dead now.
Yep. Yep.
And I threw Archeon into everyone with a plum. I was like, whatever, I'm not rolling a one. I would just like drop the dice and I'll look at it and be like, he's fine. Let's go. Fighting. And he never died. You just got to believe in the power of the ever chosen.
Hell.
And so this is just like, this is an incredible, again, like I've said it many times, but this one is also like, this one's like, honestly an often confounding table. It's very damaging, but it's just like one of the more challenging sort of play experiences of all the tables because of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, for sure. Vince, can you call up the rules so they can see the overhead shot of the eye of Zinch?
Absolutely. Let's do
You
that.
you can see that. You can kind of see it in the photo. It's near the black pit. You'll see this pink looking eye.
Oops,
But
we went
what
past that. Sorry.
happens with the what happens? Yeah, the streams or the YouTube channel's a little
There
bit
it is.
behind. Let me know.
You're good.
You got it up.
Got it. Yep.
So the black pit, the eye of Zinch, you get to move around the board,
Yep.
and I cut the template shape in the symbol of Zinch. So it's a very unique. And in fact, in the chat, I think it was Josh that said it's a unique. Yeah, it was Josh. It's really because it's kind of hard to see here, but if you know what the symbol of Zeech looks like, that's what you're trying to place, and you can move it and turn it so that
Right.
you can really get it into these nooks and crannies. Like your opponent's going to think that they're safe. Oh, I blocked everything out. Well, maybe not so much if I rotate the eye this way.
Right.
So it really creates a different experience for because we're used to you're placing things on either a pie plate. Most of the stuff is or an oval, but this one is very unique in that regard and it goes chompy chompy too. So it's really great. And then under the black pit, when you get under the black pit's going to push you out, and that's one of the really great things. There's like a push pull mechanic under the black pit when you're trying to get the objective, and you're forced to go in there and battle underneath there. And it's a fun table to play on. And for the earlier person who was questioning terrain placement and such. And so one of the things one of the things that came up, I was playing against Tori and Kenny on this as a ringer
Yep.
last year, and I had the Sylvaneth and Belle, my wife Belle, was we didn't. I think you had to leave, but so Belle stepped in your place,
Right.
and we're playing, and Belle's like, "Well, I want to put a tree up there on top of the black pit." And I'm like, well, and then Kenny's like, yeah, absolutely do it. Cause that's the fun of it. Right. So,
Sure.
so sure enough, we had Sylvaneth Wildwoods on top of the black pit. So
Of
there you go.
course. Look, Alariel's
Cause
reach is far. Okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. So it was good times. Good times.
Here we actually have a better picture of it here in a little bit later on. But this is the Slanesh Gladiatorial Arena. I was happy to be able to contribute to this board. Over time,
Yes, you
I've tried to
did.
like just give as much stuff to Steve as I can with big terrain stuff. So this was part of this was my display board for
Yeah.
my daughters for a while, and then Steve took it and did all this incredible work on it to turn it into the gladiatorial arena of Slanesh with the big statue in the middle. The hand, of course, as you might expect, moves around. Of course, it does.
Mhm.
There are big pillars you're trying to control out there on the outside, as you can see kind of in the background there. And this one's really fun. It does encourage a lot of fighting in the middle because the arena supercharges everybody. It also has a lot of verticality because you're trying to get up on the sides of the arena. You need to get up here to like
Under
control this
the, yeah,
area.
that's the dais. Yeah. You want to get up there.
Yep.
And then you get to so each time your team has plundered Slanesh's dais, every unit in your army increases their movement by a characteristic of 2.
Right.
So you are just like the Flash, zipping around the board the longer you stay up there.
Yep.
So it's a lot of fun to see Iron Jaws like zipping around the board as fast as elves. It's pretty
Absolutely.
cool.
And like you can't really see it in this photo, but I think you'll see it a little better. Steve did this amazing thing. So like in this arena, there's sort of these archways on all the walls. And Steve like actually got little pictures and they're like little Slanesh frescoes, dioramas that are sort of in every little
Yeah.
thing. So it's just incredible.
Yeah.
This is another really, really fun table. Our Nurgle people are making another appearance here. This table, oh boy, has it taken some changes over time. So this is the big brass fortress. This has been a nightmare table at certain points in time. Uh, when this table was when you first did it,
Mm-hmm.
the lava stopped you from running or flying.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like, I remember I played this table, and then when you're trying to get the crystals across, like there's a game where you're trying to escort some
Yep.
crystals across the table. You couldn't run, you couldn't
Mm-hmm.
fly, and the lava popped every movement phase, doing a bunch of holy wounds to everybody within like a massive range of
Yeah.
the lava. And like basically two of our units got to go fight the other enemy. We just died before we even got
Right.
there, just walking across the
Right.
table,
I
just
think so.
melting.
There was one. There was like a 1 inch by 1 inch spot on the
Right,
board that was discovered where it was like on the warp gate of corn, where you could safely set a model and not take damage from the lava. You
right.
know, because so that's kind of crazy. From the lava pools, the gouts of lava. So, yeah, that's what it was. The gouts of
Yep.
lava. Yeah, it was a
It's
good
a
table.
little bit more reasonable now, but still a very
Yeah,
dangerous
well,
table.
I don't know if you remember, but the this terrain, this terrain, what you're looking at here is only a partial of the brass
Right.
fortress that we have. We had a complete brass fortress, so we have a whole nother terrain map where when we were a singles event, we had a full fortress, and then there was an earthquake. And when the lava would spew forth the pools would spew forth the lava, then there was an earthquake component mechanic that worked, and you would remove pieces of the fortress
Right.
and take holy wounds. And it just got to be a little bit too complicated, and we went to the ruins. And Tom donated that terrain, which
Yep.
was very generous of him to donate that terrain to us so that we could
This is
build this
Tom's big
table.
brass fortress.
It was,
Um,
and it was. This table's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy
it
this
really
table a
is. I
lot,
love this table. I play on
and
this one
and it's
most years.
beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful table too. The lava is made with so the lava effect that you see there is actually made with uh, metal powder. That's what creates the red and the yellow and the orange and the yellow, and that's put into the resin, and then I manipulate it by using toothpicks before the resin can set.
Nice.
And it's yeah, it's an amazing looking table. And it the surface itself too is all acrylic medium,
Yep.
right? And glass beads, and it's just use a spatula to push it down and pull
Nice.
it up, push it down, pull it up, and that's how you create the undulation and the feeling that it's like
Like
cooled
obsidian
lava.
stone. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, obsidian stone. Yep, yep,
Yep. Uh back to that one. And then okay, so here this is everybody's favorite table for getting a punch up, the ogre challenge stone. The ogres have a table. The stone in the middle makes you fight more. What more do we need to say? Okay, like
yeah.
again, this is just like if you love punchies,
The
this is the table
classic.
for you. Everybody
Yeah,
loves this
this
table.
yeah, it's always played on.
Yep.
It's a top table.
I've had some great games around this one. This is another table I really love. This is the sort of ice fortress table.
Yeah.
So you got this big ice lake in the middle. You might ask yourself, well, do you slide around on the ice? Yep, you sure do.
Yes, you do. You certainly
And
do.
uh, you get to the fun part about this one is you get extra models in your army. So I don't know if you can see them here. I'll see. I'll zoom in a little. If everybody can see the old what are these dragon ogres or whatever here? I guess right.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Models down here. Basically, each side you get one of your little dragon ogre friends, and they have their own little war scroll that's on the table, and you get to control them. And one of your goals is to go kill more of the enemy army with your little dragon ogre friend than they kill of yours. So you kind of
Yep.
go and wake them up, and then they go and fight for you. So this is like a super classic table for getting in just wild chaos up and down the board because you really have a lot of incentive to be everywhere on this table. So as you can see, people are like fairly spread out, and that's because you're going to need to be up here and over here and in the middle quite consistently. So
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, for sure. And then we made a change to that table. The Island of Sorrows is now your terrain objective,
oh, there you go.
which is
Okay.
great. Yeah, yeah. So it's going to be more. There's going to be more. It's going to be definitely more spread out in terms of the overall play.
Absolutely.
Much more competitive.
It's a good question. Lodovicus says the real question is, with all these tables, which one is your favorite child, and which one matches the basing of your favorite army?
Uh, my favorite army.
Because this is kind
Yay.
of themed to your Iron Jaws of the North a little bit. It's
It
very similar.
is.
They
Yeah,
look
actually,
appropriate here.
this was definitely themed with my Iron Jaws of the North. In fact, when I was designing the Island of Sorrows, that is the display board essentially
Sure,
for the Iron Jaws of the North. They will just sit in there. The Maw Crusher replaces the Tower of Souls. He goes on top of there, and then the whole army just is descending the stairs that are on the island. Um, boy, I don't know if I can answer that question. Favorite table. I guess I have to go back to. I think my favorite table. Oh man, I don't know. I love them all. It's like
sure.
asking me
Hard
who
to
my
pick a
favorite
favorite
child
child.
is.
I can give an easy
Yeah.
answer. It's the Slanesh table. I love
Okay.
the Slanesh table. I play on
Okay.
that,
There
but
you
that's
go.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So
Right. I mean, my favorite, like my Sylvaneth for my Sylvaneth is probably one of my favorite armies. It's near and dear to my heart, but none of my tables are themed around it
right,
because the Oak of the Ages table was themed to my Wood Elves, which were an autumn themed table. Um, I really have a affinity for the Ruined Temple City of Sigmar table.
sure,
But if you're going to push me to it, the closest thing that has probably a similar basing scheme to my Sylvaneth, and then all my order armies is probably the floating islands,
sure.
because they have it's the closest to it. So, boy,
Nice.
yeah, it's a great question. Great
We
question.
cannot forget about the Tower of Blood here, with
Yes.
the corn table. This beautiful red blood resin pour all throughout. This one is like a ridiculously fun table to play on because you can teleport around the trees. Like I've had so many good games on this table,
Yeah, it's a good
and
time.
like all this stuff causes damage, and you can teleport around the trees, and it's just like, boy, we've this has led to some just wild games, truly, truly wild games.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, the
so
Foresight Forest is a great experience. Kind of
mhm.
gives everybody a little taste of what the Sylvaneth get to do.
That's right. That's right. So this is just a beautiful one. Again, more of the sort of fortress here, along with the big blood things up top. So that's nice. Then another shifting monolith picture. Here you can see where it bounced up against the edge wall as we took the picture. Our buddy Kenny in there. Here's the much better picture. You can really see the check this out. Like you can just really see the art that Steve put in these dioceses and stuff. It's just amazing. Um, so there you go. Got some nice Iron Jaws in here fighting. I think some other Iron Jaws. I think it's multiple Iron Jaws a showdown along with some other forces. So absolutely gorgeous. Another piece of the city of Azure there, and then where'd it go? Where'd it go? Ah, no. I thought I had the picture. All right, hold on, everybody. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to fix something. There was an awesome picture in here that you had. I don't know. I thought I grabbed it, but where the heck did it go? Wonder if we're going to find it, everybody. Don't worry. Somehow it didn't download properly. There it is. There it is. Okay. We're going to grab it right now. And we're gonna make sure this works. Where did it go? Who knows? There it is. All right. All right. Okay. I'll bring it up separately. Sorry, everybody, for this riveting television. Here we go. New picture. The one I wanted to end on. It was supposed to be the last picture, but then I don't know, things got weird. Here we go. Steve, you and I playing together on the table. Here you go. On the Nurgle table. I wish here's the really hilarious part about this. I was wearing this shirt yesterday. This red shirt that I have in the picture. I literally had this on yesterday. And you sent me these pictures today, and I was like, damn it.
That's great.
So I thought that was pretty funny.
That's
But yes,
great.
Steve and I have played
Yeah.
together many
Yeah.
times. Sometimes the ringer, just whatever. There you
Yeah.
can see we're rolling with the sparkling ice, of course. Always. There
Yep.
is. This is the game where we played against Anthony. This was his. You can see his big mega gargants over here, stuck,
Yep.
uh,
That
stuck over here in the
was a great
corner.
time. Yep.
So as well as our Idneth people, this was a really super fun game.
It
Uh,
was. It totally
so
was. And this is a good there's a lesson to be learned in this one. Do you remember what David? Because David, remember it was a great game. It was coming down to the end, and then David was playing the models, not the objective. Do you remember?
right,
And
I mean I remember this happening.
remember,
I
dude,
remember
yeah,
I got
and
slaughtered because if we look at this table, okay, well, let's see. Well, here's the Idneth player over here. Oh crap! What just happened?
yeah,
Go
that
away,
was
picture.
David.
Uh, ah, hold on. Where did it go?
Actually, they were playing double Idness that year.
There it is.
It
Okay.
wasn't his Mega Gardens. It wasn't Anthony playing his Mega
Oh,
Gardens
you're
in
right.
this
These are
one.
my
In this
Mega
one.
Gargants over here. Yeah, sorry. It was
Yeah,
me playing
yeah,
Gargants. Yes, you're right. You're
yep,
right. Anthony was playing his
yeah,
Idneth. I'm sorry.
right,
Yes.
right, yeah.
How
Anthony
how
was
can I
playing
mistake this?
Idness.
These are obviously my models. Yeah. So I decided to bring Mega Gargants this year. I had the 2 models plus my Warlord. There it is. Yes.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And then I had the Iron Jaws that year. That wasn't our daughters versus and Sylvaneth year. That was the
Yes.
yeah. But that was the so they were kicking our teeth in that year,
Yes.
pretty well. And the game what they hadn't beaten us yet. We were still doing a bit on them, and then and I think we were doing which one was it? Was it the is that can you see are there any warps? So I think that might have been a Holy Wars, the Grail year. That might be a Holy Wars event, this picture. But
Hard to say. It was the
it's hard
year
to say, but
after
I
it was after
remember
the NashCon where we had the blue and yellow dice because I'm using those. Beyond that, I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, right.
No, there's a
So
crystal token right over there.
is there okay, all right. So but I remember David was going up against he's over there, he's got his eels on the left, and there was this moment where he wanted to come in and kill off some, I don't know, maybe some of the pigs. And I'm like, you sure you want to do that? Because it was like, the warlord was there, right? And all he had to do was retreat and win the game because we weren't going to catch him. He
Right.
was just gonna,
Right.
and then we just look. I look across the table at him like, okay, and he's kind of like, wait, what? Wait, David's gentleman Nashville smile. Wait, what? What
Yep.
do you mean? And it's almost like you can't refuse David. You're going to tell him, right? Because it's David,
Sure.
right? And he's just the nicest guy in the world. And you're just like, man, if you just run away, we can't get you.
Yes.
Sure,
Yes. We got David Griffin, the TO of NashCon, of course,
yep,
and then our good buddy Anthony. Yes, you're right, Anthony. I'm sorry. This was your BCR as on Turtles.
yeah,
I apologize. And then
yep,
yes, my Mega Gargants,
yep.
and then Steve using his Iron Jaws to the north. Uh David's like Idneth army is absolutely freaking gorgeous,
Oh
obviously. So
yeah,
this
yeah. I
was
think
just
they
like
took.
a hobby-rific game.
And Anthony's in the chat. Anthony, didn't you guys take a trophy home for this? I think you did. I'm pretty sure you did. I think you guys took it home that year. Anyway, yeah, just an amazing time. It was one of my favorite times. And somebody asked, Vince looks so happy in that photo.
That's my resting normal face during a game. Yeah.
It's-
It's pretty normal. Pretty normal. Um
normally you're standing swaying back and forth.
yeah, I move a lot. Yes, that's correct.
It's
Yeah.
all right. I do the same thing.
But
So
there we go. One last thing I'll leave everybody with. I did mention it earlier. It's worth bringing it over. Let me go ahead and grab this. Where are you at? There he is. There he is. The other cool thing, just to end on here, is what happened? Why did you switch to that? No, be the scroll. Okay, fine. Hold on. It showed me the scroll, and then I moved the file, and now it doesn't have a preview it can show me. So I'll talk about the Warlord here. This is what I get. I had it all prepped, but I was like, I don't need to download it. It's showing me a cool preview. I can just drag that over. Nope. Sure can't. Okay, long and short, if it gives me a problem. The Warlord is an extra cool piece that you get. Basically, everybody has their own Warlord. And over the course of the game, you're going to like level that guy up. They follow different paths, things like that. and get different abilities. So you can have one that's more like, if you don't have a wizard in your army, you could have one that maybe is a wizard or a priest or more of a mobile fighter or stuff like that. So it's just a lot of fun, as far as an extra piece goes, and it's become very much like a thing that people model towards, right? Like that
Yep.
they make
Yep.
special models for often. It's just this
Yeah.
cool chance to like kit bash and make something that's truly your own and represents your army, and it's sort of the story you go on. And in certain years, like you can always tell, like, this is what inspired me to do Skig all the way and do him up was Holy Havoc some years back when I had like multiple models for him as he for the first time he died, and then evolved and came back as a Stormcast and all of that,
Hmm.
right? It's just a
Yep.
great extra piece of of the the game. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a fan favorite for sure.
we saw it
So
very briefly. Yes, I'm sorry everybody for reasons I cannot fathom. It will not let me download it now. I apologize, everyone. But you can check it all out. It's all information's all on the site, which I will link down below. So there you go. Okay, cool. Steve, any final thoughts as you're getting ready and excited to run this in like 9 days from now?
yeah, final thoughts. We will be doing paint judging on Friday night. I say that it's in the schedule. We never usually, normally never do it, but we will be doing it on Friday and Saturday night. So when you arrive at the event on Friday, you'll be able to set up your armies in the paint judging room, leave them there for the duration of the weekend. We encourage you to do so. Reed wanted me to make sure to remind everybody to read the pack. There are changes to scenarios. We did make updates. It's really important that you take a look at that. It's not just going to be what it was last year. So it would be important to do that. Read your war scroll too. There were changes made to the warlord. Don't assume that it's the same because it isn't. And then on the new tables, it would be really, really important for everybody to, when you arrive, read those rules and read the Ghostly Raiders war scroll that will be on the Night Hunt table. We really encourage it. We're looking forward to seeing everybody. It's going to be a great time. We're super excited to bring you two new tables and great memories and developing friendships that'll last a lifetime. And thanks for having me here tonight, Vince, and helping us out along the way.
Of
Appreciate it.
course, it's always a great time. And yes, Steve mentioned it earlier, but it's worth saying. So this is like the whole tournament is run for a charity called Hesed House, which, as Steve mentioned, helps get people out of a homeless shelter into a permanent or living situation. So it really is helping families get back on their feet. And it's amazing. Steve has been a partner for this charity for a long time, for basically the duration of this tournament. We've had like representatives of the charity come and visit us and take a look over. And I don't think they really understood what was going on, why all these nerds were playing with plastic toys and how that converted into donations. But there's a big giant raffle that everybody brings kits that we all throw in and use for a big raffle, as well as what Steve has people contribute. So it's just an amazing thing. I've taken to running the raffle in recent years, which I run like a death march to make sure that we
Yes,
get
you
through it
do.
fast, because not for any other reason than people's generosity has become so amazing that if we take it anything slower than the literal breakneck pace I go at, it would just take like an hour and a half to give out everything that's there. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the generosity and spirit of the community and everything like that is really one of the things that makes the event special, both in how that manifests in the real world, but also just the great time that everybody gets to have.
Yeah.
So I know I just want to thank
Yeah.
Steve. Thank you for putting this on every year. I know it's a lot of work. He does it twice a year. It's incredible. We'll definitely be
Yeah.
sharing out lots of pics. Steve and Reed both share out on their socials, as well as obviously a lot of them. That's correct, Anthony. There is no clapping. You stop that clapping. People win. I don't want to hear a clap. I don't want to hear a peep. I want silence.
Yeah.
But no, it's a great time. Steve, thank you very much, brother, for coming and hanging out with me. It was great to have you back on.
Yeah. Thanks again. I appreciate it. And be safe.
Absolutely. I love getting to share all these amazing creations that you've brought into the world with everybody. So for all of you out there, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe. Thank you to everybody who super chatted. It's really appreciated. It does help support the show in a big way. Keep that coming. If you do want to support the show, you can click affiliate links down there. You can hit up the merch store. There's our Patreon. You can go check out other stuff in the Vinci Cinematic Universe. Why, there's other podcasts if you, for some reason, need more of my voice. We have a new episode of Fireball the Gazebo out this week, and we're talking about character arcs in D&D and, kind of the different natures of them, how to, as a GM, work best and create collaborative arcs so your characters can actually grow and change, stuff like that. So it's a really fun episode to do. So go check that out. Everything is linked down below, so go check all that stuff out. Steve, thank you again, brother, and all of you, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, next week, hotel show. I don't know what that's going to amount to or when it will be. It's in the middle of a big event. I'll be very busy. So who knows? But there you go. It'll probably be just something I do by myself and we just hang out and chat for an hour. So look forward to that. But otherwise, thank you all for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday. And as always, start rolling